Hey guys, welcome back. So with it being a while since we've talked any DC, I figured why not jump back in with Night Terrors, which is the huge event jumping off this month and finishing in August that'll take us into the horror-filled nightmares of DC's heroes and villains. But if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the first dawn of DC anything that I've covered here. So we'll see how this goes, and if you guys want more, just let me know in the comments. And before we dive in, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to catch the spills every week, and don't forget to hit that bell up top so we can squat up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so to start this off, we begin inside of a very utopian dream that's being had by John D, who's also known as Dr. Destiny. But then out of nowhere, this peaceful dream of him spending time with his wife and his son, it quickly flips into a horrendous nightmare because someone else has entered his mind. But quickly, John D, he tears this illusion away because he's like, I'm Dr. Destiny, dreams are my playground. And he tells this intruder that they're not just gonna waltz in and have their way with his mind. So he calls them out like, show yourself, don't try to hide now. But then suddenly, this visitor takes John D to the Hall of Justice, the home of his old enemies. But to John, this is nothing more than like a haunted house, since the Justice League had long disbanded. So as John makes his way through, he tells this guy to skip the tour and just tell him what he wants, because when John gets the Dreamstone and regains control of this realm, he's gonna make this guy pay. But as he makes his way further into the Hall of Justice, suddenly this painting of the Justice League comes to life and it begins to attack him. And as they do, John D is just like, how are you doing this? What's wrong with your eyes? Only for this voice to reply, where is the Nightmare Stone? And as John is just dragged deeper into the Hall of Justice, he screams, you can't have it. No one can, as he refuses to tell this person where it is. And after this, next we head over to Deadman, who we find in a graveyard. And the way he sees it, Batman has his Batcave, so it only makes sense for Deadman to have a graveyard. But while he's here, he notices the wind of death blowing past, and within it, he feels someone like him. So he makes his way to follow this wind and investigate this strange presence, only to find that it's led him to Superman. And Deadman admits that it's pretty hard to see Superman in action and not just stop to watch in amazement. But also while he's here, he points out that this presence that he's sensing, it's not coming from Superman, but instead it's following him. So Deadman decides that he's going to do the same as well. And as Superman finishes up here, saving these people from a burning building, he gets an alert to head back to the Hall of Justice. So he quickly takes off to make his way there, as Deadman follows not too far behind. And along the way, we find that Wonder Woman has got this same alert, so she's heading to the Hall of Justice as well. And for Deadman, with him now seeing Wonder Woman, he notices that she has that same presence on her, as if the two of them are being haunted by the same mysterious entity. But as Deadman follows them back to the Hall of Justice, when he gets there, he notices that the same presence which was following them, it's also radiating from the Hall of Justice. And he notices that all around, that there are forces from another dimension seeping into this one. So he rushes inside to warn Wonder Woman and Superman, but he's not able to communicate to them without using a host. So for the time, he just follows them as they meet with Batman, who lets Superman and Wonder Woman know that they have been alerted because an alarm from the restricted area had went off. And because of Batman's paranoia, if you will, this alarm would only notify himself, Wonder Woman, and Superman, because only the three of them have access to this part of the Hall of Justice. But as they make their way into the restricted area, they find the peculiar looking corpse of John D, who otherwise they haven't seen since Dark Crisis, back when he was working with Deathstroke, where he was later on apprehended and taken to Arkham. But then suddenly while they're here, Batman gets a call from Harley Quinn, who's at Arkham Tower, and she tells him that they gotta talk about John D. And at first Batman's like, he escaped, I know, I'm looking at his body right now. But then Harley's like, no, he is very much here, at Arkham, having one heck of a crazy, violent nightmare. And the doctors are doing everything they can to sedate him, but nothing is working. So Harley lets Batman know that if he wants, she can bop him one time on the kisser to try to wake him up. But Batman's like, no, I'll be there in 15. And Superman is like, if this is magic, we should get Zatanna involved. But for Deadman, with him hearing this, he knows that it's not magic and that he's got to give these guys the heads up on what he's seen, because he thinks he knows what it is. But to tell them, he tries to get in the body that they found at the Hall of Justice. But Deadman's not able to get in since this isn't actually John D's physical body. So then next, he quickly jumps into Batman's body, which is something that I'm pretty sure he's been warned not to do before. But now with him in Batman's body, he's able to speak to Wonder Woman and Superman. So he quickly tells them that it's not magic, but with them being surprised that he's even here, they have questions. But he just cuts them off, telling them that they have to listen, as he goes on to say that the realm of dreams and the world of death are connected, related like brother and sister. And Deadman tells him that what he's picking up here is primordial, because someone's tapping into something very powerful and very dangerous. But before he gets to finish, Batman's able to take back control and just spew Deadman out. And for Batman, even though he was fighting off the control of Deadman, he was still listening. So when Wonder Woman and Superman try to fill him in, he's like, I got it, I heard the message. To where next he tells Deadman to never do that again, because even though he can't hurt him, Batman can help him go into the light. But even with him now knowing that it's not magic, Wonder Woman says that she's still gonna contact Zatanna so that she could at least take a look, and Superman said he's gonna go by Supercorp to see if anything's changed on a cosmic level. And as far as the whole Supercorp thing, that goes back to the current Superman series in Dawn of DC, where as a result of Lex Luthor's recent incarceration, all of LexCorp has been turned over to Superman, with Luthor claiming that this is his attempt at offering the resources needed to help Superman be the best version of himself. And we may cover more Dawn of DC after Night Terrors is finished, but it's up to you guys. Either let me know in the comments or over on Discord. But at this point, with the Trinity rushing out of the Hall of Justice, we find that Amanda Waller has been keeping tabs on everybody, and with her seeing the three of them together, she suspects that something crazy is up. But as Batman and Deadman make their way to Arkham Tower, they hear John D screaming, "Don't fall asleep, you can't let him find it. If he finds the Nightmare Stone, it will be the end of everything." And then he just splashes open, with Batman noticing that the wounds that John has here are identical to the ones on the body at the Hall of Justice. So just to be clear, Harley asked if Batman is saying that it was something in John's nightmare that killed him. And as far as Batman knows right now, he tells her if they stay awake, then they're fine, because John D's Dream Stone is locked up in the Hall of Justice. But Batman's not sure what the Nightmare Stone is, and with Batman saying this, a voice then responds to him coming from John D's body. The same voice of the intruder who we saw attack John D in the beginning. And this voice tells Batman the question isn't what is the Nightmare Stone, the question is where is it? And it goes on to say that John D was a smart man. He hid the Nightmare Stone long ago in the dreams of one of his enemies. And as this voice takes over the body of John D, Batman just calls Deadman's name, and Deadman's like, nah, that ain't me. But this voice then goes on to tell Batman maybe we can team up to find it. After it kills a couple Robins, it can make him his new sidekick. But then it jumps up to the ceiling while telling Batman that he doesn't operate in the shadows, he hides in them. And Batman thinks he's the stuff of nightmares, but he hasn't seen nothing yet. So then next, Batman does a very Batman thing as he throws batarangs at this guy. But in response, this dude is like, really? Some batarangs? See, this is why you're out of your depth. But then he goes on to tell Batman that he once had a dream that the world would finally see superheroes the way that he saw them, which is not as heroes, but as horror. And as it would turn out, dreams do come true. And when the voice says this, nightmare constructs then begin to form in the waking world. But as Batman and Harley begin to fight them off, they tell the others to leave, only to then find this strange purple mist coming out of all the other doctors. And when we look back at the Hall of Justice, with Wonder Woman, Zatanna, and Detective Chimp, who are investigating John D's body there, which Zatanna recognizes as a powerful dream construct, but then suddenly the mist creeps up on them as well, quickly putting both Wonder Woman and Detective Chimp to sleep, though for a moment we see Zatanna defending herself with a spell to keep her awake, but she's not able to wake up the others. And soon after, we're shown the scale of how far this mist is reached, with it catching Superman in mid-flight, taking him out of the air, as it pulses its way around the world, spreading from Arkham Tower, forcing everyone to sleep and into their nightmare. In this attack, it isn't only for the heroes. Everybody gets it, heroes and villains alike, with it spreading to Robin, Black Adam, Poison Ivy, Green Lantern, the Joker, Ravager, Flash, with the mist eventually covering the entire globe, which is kind of the point of Night Terrors being such a huge event, because everybody gets a nightmare. And back at Arkham Tower, while the whole world's going night-night, we see Harley go under as Batman, who's still trying to fight it off, activates his emergency protocol, no sleep till Gotham, which pumps him up with a ton of adrenaline to keep his heart rate up, allowing him to continue to fight his way through, with him saying, whatever you are, I will not fall, I will not rest, I will not sleep until you are. But before he can finish, sand just blows over Batman, changing him into a young Bruce Wayne, wearing the same suit that he wore on the night that his parents were murdered years ago in Crime Alley. As Bruce hears his father calling for him in the distance, it's right here where he realizes that he's been forced to sleep as well. But right now on the outside, at Arkham Tower, this is pretty much just left Deadman by himself, who races towards Batman, apologizing because he has to jump into his body again, because at this point in time he really doesn't have much of any other choice. And with doing this, he admits that normally he'd crack a joke or a pun in this moment, but instead he just decides to do what he thinks that Batman would do, as he goes on to fight off these constructs, only for the voice of this stranger to reach out and solicit that Deadman joins him. And he tells Deadman that he's pretty much been trapped as a circus performer, but if they work together, Deadman can have so much more. But the truth is, this guy, he only wants Deadman to help, to cut the search in half and have Deadman bring him the Nightmare Stone, which again is hidden in the mind of one of the heroes. And with saying this, he goes on to reveal to Deadman that his name is Insomnia, and he's going to make the heroes pay for what they did to him. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here, who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/Dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.